Happy 4th of July, everybody! Go America! Yeah! Now let's celebrate by talking about Japanese comics. What? Hey everybody, Tekking101 here, here to review Bleach chapter number 499, getting close to 500, there may be cake, who knows, entitled Rescuer in the Dark. This is of course kind of a throwback to the old chapter title about maybe 2 years ago during the... The fuck was that thing? Did you guys just see that? It looked very odd and unoriginal. Anyway, I'm sure it definitely won't show up again. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of a throwback to an old chapter title back during the fake Karakura arc called Shout at the Dark. Just made that little comparison. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat that this chapter, not a lot happens in the way of action, but that's okay, because we find out a shit ton, or at least Ichigo finds out a shit ton about how the Von Reich operates, and we find out a couple things about their abilities too. So, it's a very dialogue-heavy chapter, which in Bleach, be honest here, I'm not going to make a monologuing joke, I'm not going to make anything like that. I'm just making an observation that most chapters in Bleach, they don't have much dialogue, which I really like when we get stuff like this. So, of course, like I assumed last chapter, Ichigo doesn't just show up in the Soul Society. We have to have an entire chapter of him running in the Dongai first. And Akon's just bringing him up to speed on everything that's going on in the Seirete, which this pretty much amounts to. We've lost a crapload of Shinigami, half the Seirete's exploded, and they can steal the Bankai, so we're pretty much screwed. And Ichigo's response to this actually surprised me a little bit, like he was actually using his old noggin. Ever since the whole Von Reich invasion started, no one's flat out ever really said that the Shinigami have died. I mean, Akon said we've lost these soldiers and their Ryatsu's disappeared, but we've never actually gotten a full, like, they're actually dead. And Ichigo brings that up. He's like, does their Ryatsu disappearing mean they're dead? Well, we don't really know yet, because the Von Reich, the Quincy's have all these abilities and stuff we don't really know. We don't understand them that well. We're not sure. So, that's an interesting thing right there. Now, my idea, now I'm not saying this is like possibility, I'm just saying this is like as one of the possibilities of what can happen here. We've seen that right before the Von Reich invasion, Kubo kind of set this up by showing Kirge's fight with Ichigo and kind of giving us a prelude to Quincy's abilities through Kirge. Like, Kirge gets beat down by Alon, he uses Bleach to recover, and that kind of sets up Bleach for when we see the invasion of the Soul Society. And now it kind of comes full circle now, because now we go back to Kirge's fight where we actually understand the whole, how Bleach works later in the chapter. But, so it was kind of set up what Kirge was doing. Another thing that Kirge did right before we cut back to the Soul Society was he showed the ability to absorb whole Ryatsu beings and, like, absorb their power. So, the idea that they can do that, and since Shinigami are also beings made of Ryatsu, it can also stand to reason that the Quincy's can just absorb the Shinigami. Like, we saw Izuru missing like half of his body, but we didn't see any blood. You see where I'm going with this? They might have actually absorbed the Shinigami themselves. Not saying that as an actual, I'm not saying like I definitely 100% believe in that, I'm just saying that it's a possibility at the moment, considering that the Quincy's whole basis is they can absorb Ryatsu material. We get the title page along with Rin, I think his or her name is, I'm not really sure if her gender has been revealed. Her gender, his or her gender, whatever. And she reiterates the fact that something else that I've said, that Ichigo will definitely save the Soul Society. And, to be fair, I believed in this too. I thought, Ichigo was gonna break into the Soul Society, go all commando style, like, bring it on, you Quincy motherfuckers! Get to go, and save the day. But, after logically thinking about this, there's 16 Sternritters currently in the Soul Society. We find that out in this chapter, there's 16, so the whole alphabet thing, 26, I don't know. Maybe it's a different alphabet, I don't know. Because they're German. But anyway, I was just thinking like, well, there's 16. I mean, Ichigo's fast and Ichigo's strong, but he can't be everywhere at once. It's just not going to happen. So I think, and if especially since at the end of this chapter, we're going to clearly see something else go into play here. But, I think like something else is going to happen, like the Royal Guard's going to have to show up or something, because I don't think Ichigo's going to be like their saving grace here, I'm just saying. So then, the last thing Akon does is bring him up to speed on the Quincy's ability to steal Bankai, tells him that, Soifun Komamura, Byakuya and Toshiro all got their Bankais stolen. And then we cut over back to Hueco Mundo, where Urahara is actually analyzing Kirge's corpse. I'll get to that, too. But anyway, yeah, he's analyzing it using some of his technology, and he says that the Quincy's have 3 main abilities. And this is like, okay, this is great right here. We finally get to find out, what makes the Quincy's tick here. Although we really only found out about one of them, but still. Anyway, he says the first one is the bolt standing. And I don't know if this is a translation error. I really don't. But from this dialogue, he says that it's the easiest to understand, but they currently know nothing about it. Might be a translation, I'm just saying. But yeah, he mentions it's the most apparent anyway, because their physical bodies change. Which of course goes back to the whole, when the Colonel Sanders Quincy was fighting Shoroku, he used an ability called Grimace, which might be like a halfway point between the Quincy's. So, we don't find that out from Urahara, what exactly that ability is, so they clearly have at least more than 3 abilities, or at least just a halfway point of it. It might just be a suborder of the bolt standing, but yeah, bolt standing, I'm just going to go with being like the Quincy's Bankai, essentially, because that's what it's led out to be. The second one is the Bleach, and this is the one we finally figured out how the Bleach works. And I can actually relate with this pretty well. But yeah, the Bleach basically, because the Quincy's can control Reishi, it stands to reason they can control the Reishi in their own bodies. And they can manipulate it in their blood vessels and arteries, which Bleach artery, Bleach vein. Probably the best way I can describe this is, I'm going to make a One Piece reference, is Luffy from One Piece. Luffy from One Piece has an ability called Gear Second where he can pump blood into his body, and by increasing his blood flow, he can move faster and be stronger. However, the major flaw with this is they can only manipulate one at a time. They can either have the Bleach for defense when blocking Ichigo's sword, in Kirge's case, or for offense when attacking. And you can't switch between them, you can't have both open at the same time, and I guess you can't switch between them consecutively, speed, defense, offense, defense, offense. And the only reason that Kisuke was able to kill Kirge, wound him anyway, was because, momentarily he kind of flipped his lid and went into offense mode, so he just blasted a hole in the side of his chest. But that's a major weakness right there. So yeah, we finally get an understanding of how the Bleach works, and I actually get a pretty good idea. Probably the best way to fight the Quincy's at this moment is, after knowing this knowledge, is by double teaming them like Byakuya and Renji were going to, or by, more than one, Shinigami versus a Stern Rider, because then you can kind of try to figure out some way when there's more than one person fighting them, is switching between defense and offense. Maybe you can find an opening somewhere in there. You understand what I mean. It's better in just one-on-one combat, unless you're Ichigo Kurosaki, of course. But yeah, we find out about that, and then we get to the final part, which is the stealing the Bankai. Okay, seriously, what the fuck? Did you guys not see that? Okay, moving on. And Urahara didn't really find out much about this, except for the fact that they used the medallions or the metal plates in order to absorb the Bankai. We also, interesting, I thought he was going to mention something with the Zanpakuto spirit, because no one's brought this up yet. No one's brought up the fact that, does stealing the Bankai have anything to do, would that affect the spirit at all? No one brings that up. Except for Hitsugaya, but, that was just kind of in the moment. So, Urahara doesn't really say anything about that. It's well, stealing the Bankai takes away the spirit, interrupts their connection, or the synergy. They really don't know much about it. So, the only thing we really found out concrete in this chapter was of the Bleach. But like I said, I don't care. I'm happy with all the dialogue because it sets the stage for later on. Ichigo's right about to get to the Soul Society when an arrow flies directly by him and stitches the Senkai gate shut. And then we cut back over to Hueco Mundo, where we find out that Kirge is actually not dead, despite the fact that Urahara probably had every single prime opportunity to kill him. I mean, he mentions that he knew he was alive, he just didn't think he could move with, a giant mother effing hole in him. But I'm assuming that they needed him alive to do their research, or whatever research they did. We didn't really see him, probe him or anything. Not that I would really want to see that, but I'm just saying. Anyway, actually, Kirge used an ability known as Ranso Tengai. Hello, class. Welcome to Tekking101. I'll be your teacher, Tekking101, with glasses. I'm a separate character because I'm wearing glasses. Anyway, the Quincy's have an ability known as Ranso Tengai. Although it's very rare and only discovered in history books by Mayuri Kurotsuchi, it's actually an ability that allows the Quincy's to manipulate the Reishi as somewhat like puppet strings. So even though their bodies are wounded, physical injuries mean nothing. As long as the Quincy's pretty much aren't dead, they can still move using Ranso Tengai. Interesting thing I have to note here is that Mayuri analyzed, I think it was 2,661 Quincy's, or something like that. He analyzed a bunch of them, and not a single one was able to use Ranso Tengai before he saw Uryu use it. So, just an interesting thing right there that he's able to use that, or that you're even aware of the technique. I was thinking maybe they were like some kind of modded Quincy's, like they weren't original Quincy's, they were like some, like humans or Ronkars modded after the Quincy's. But since they're clearly aware of these ancient techniques, maybe something happened with that. Maybe the Quincy King had something to do with it. But just thought I would mention that as something that's very rare in the Quincy kind that these guys are able to use. Okay, now, moving back. So, Kirge fires another shot into the Dongai. This one's apparently a heat-seeking missile, because it hits right on Ichigo, and it doesn't really do him any harm, but it encases him in like a giant cage. Why Kirge didn't do this when he was fighting Ichigo, I don't know. Just keep going. We get Kirge with the Holy Mother Christmas! For whoever's been watching my videos for a long time, you've seen me react to many freaky, creepy pedophile face in Bleach before. But I think this pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much going up on my #1 spot for the moment. Just gonna set that up on the golden medallion there. Can we go back to that random ice cream cone that kept popping up to get my mind off it? Yay, ice cream cone. Why does it have a straw? I don't get that. It's a straw. Who eats ice cream with a straw? Anyway, where was I? Something with, you lost, Ichigo Kurosaki. You will now stay in that dark cage. That's white. Anyway, you will stay in there, unable to get out, watching as the Soul Society is destroyed. Yeah, this probably would have been more scary if the fact that Urahara, Orihime, and Shad, and Nell, well, we haven't seen Nell, but I'm assuming she's still there, weren't right next to you. I mean, if this was like a one-on-one fight, and Kirge, like, locked Ichigo in with no one being aware that he was in there, stuck, this would probably be more scary. But the fact remains that Akon knows he's in there, Urahara knows he's in there, and Urahara, I'm fairly certain he could probably, if he can't open that Senkai, he could just open another one. I'm pretty sure he's freaking Urahara. As for Kirge himself, he's gonna get beat down in about 5 seconds, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe Nell will show back up and, fight him. That'd be cool. That would be awesome. If you could do that, Kubo, that'd be sweet. That'd be solid. 500 chapter, Nell comes back, goes back into her, adult form that everyone seems to love for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's her hair gets longer. I'm pretty sure that's it. But yeah, maybe that happens. That'd be freaking epic. But yeah, so, I think at the moment, though, that the reason he's trapped in there, it brings to question that, that Ichigo, like I said, can't just save everybody. So I'm thinking, hey, Ichigo's trapped in the Dongai, Soul Society's screwed. Maybe the Zero Squad's gonna look down on this and say, yeah, maybe we should probably show up now. Maybe, we didn't go with the invasion to Aizen, we didn't go when all that crap was going on. Maybe we should go now. So, 500 chapter, Kubo! 500! I know, and it doesn't really have to mean anything in manga. If you look at other 500 chapters in, like, Naruto and One Piece, nothing huge happens, but, it would be very fitting, I'm just saying. So, yeah, that's the end of the chapter right there. I don't know if Ichigo can just, I highly doubt he would be able to break out of that just by, Getsugo Ten showing it, because otherwise, why would they make such a, a over big deal about it? This is oh wow, you're screwed now. So yeah, great chapter. We didn't find out everything about the Quincy's right here, we didn't find out what the Volstang is, or what the Grimace is, or, even really much about how they steal the Bankai, but we found out about the Blute, and, it wouldn't be much as fun if we found out everything about the, the Quincy's right now, but at least we have a basis here going on, that if Ichigo ever does get to the Soul Society, or even if Urahara can contact them, they can have some kind of somewhat of an advantage now, knowing the Quincy's primary weakness is in their Blute. Although I'm sure that some Quincy's, they're intelligent. I'm pretty sure someone's gonna figure out, he's like, yeah, we know our weakness. We know how to, protect against that weakness. I think Kirge was just, being Kirge. But yeah, next chapter, 500 chapter, guys. I don't know. Nell, maybe something cool with that. Zero Squad, maybe something cool with that. I don't know. We'll see. So everyone, thanks for watching my video. Tekking101 signing out. 500 chapter next week. Pretty sure there will be cake. If you want some free cake, stop by my video and we'll have some free cake. Okay. See ya. Bye. Hi everybody, Black and White Tekking here again, because I'm guessing I'm just doing these ending skits now. Backing away from the curtain, backing away from the curtain. Actually, you know what? Let's go and do this. Because I don't, every time that curtain falls down, it's a pain in the ass to put everything back up on it. Anyway, I am here to mention the popularity poll in Bleach I did. The popularity poll with all the different captains. That ended this morning. Thanks to everybody who voted. I got about 230 plus votes. Really great. I'm glad no one, I was really worried about the fact that some captains would get like nothing and like everyone would be focused on one captain, like, whoa, Kenpachi got like 600 and, you know, everyone else got like 5, you know. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. We did get some low ones, but they're few and far between. So, the video that I'm going to be making for that might be out in the next, probably before July's over, but, you know, I'm just saying that just to, you know, for a deadline sake. I don't like to give deadlines because then I usually don't get doing them. But after I'm done editing the manga review today, I should have pretty much all the time to do it because I'm off for a couple days. But anyway, thank you for watching my video. Also, special thanks to Matthew Diamond. He didn't really do anything, but we were on the live stream and he told me to give him a shout out. So, you know, if you want me to give you a shout out, go watch my live streams. I'm going to be having one probably Thursday night. If you care about my opinion, if you care that, like, me giving you a shout out makes your day, there you go, pal. What was I gonna... Oh yeah, this doesn't have a hilt, by the way. Yeah. It's dull as crap, though, so you can actually hold it like this, because it's super dull. This was actually Ichigo's Bankai sword, which I really wish I would have saved it, because I'm doing Bleach reviews. If I had an Ichigo Bankai sword, there's so many skits I can do with that. Really? Even during the ending skit, you do that. Really? There's your Vanillux cameo. I really couldn't find a good way to fit him into this, so I just kind of had him pop up at random intervals. But yeah, anyway, this is kind of dragging on, so everyone, thank you again. Tekking101 signing out a second time. Break into the Soul Society, go all commando style, and be like, okay, bring it on, you Quincy motherfuckers! You get the idea.